Shalom, Kol Aloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rachakudash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, peace and blessings to the elect. So you can see the title of this article that I'm going to highlight in this video. This is from foxbusiness.com. And of course, I'm going to be very, very, very careful with my words. So I'm not going to speak too much on these things. I'll bring out precepts, obviously, and relate it back to the Bible and scriptures and prophecy. But besides that, you guys can see this this title. And this is exactly why I'm bringing this out. We've always told you not to trust the goddamn devil, not to trust Esau, Edom, because he comes in the spirit of Satan. He's here on earth to do Satan's bidding, which is really the Most High's bidding on the left-hand side. But we've talked about these things when this Max, I'm going to use that word, this Maxine, when it came out. And we're going to play this video. We're going to watch the first maybe 2 minutes of it. And of course, this is not medical advice. This is not health advice. This is not medical advice. This is not health advice. So YouTube, don't be taking my shit down. It's not medical advice. But it is what it is.
Doc Siegel joins us this morning. What exactly is TTS, Doctor?
Well, that's blood clots with low platelets. But let me tell you, this is a business segment. Let me tell you why. Because this information has been known since March of 2021, when all the Western European countries pulled this vaccine off the market, Stuart, and it was never approved in the United States by the FDA. So this is not something that we don't know about. It's something we knew about, and it was associated with what's called an adenovirus vector vaccine. This was not an AstraZeneca vaccine, by the way. It was created at Oxford University, and AstraZeneca marketed it. So my point here is a business point, which is if you're a company marketing a vaccine with a known side effect and countries are pulling it off the market, would you please get out in front of it and admit it, not wait 3 years? That's bad business, very bad business, and they should not have done that.
And because they waited, do they now face liability lawsuits?
I think they do. I would think they do. Not in the United States, because again, it was never approved here. We had that with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, very similar. In the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, they use a chimpanzee for the vector. Here we use a human, but the J&J shot was pulled also, and that has a similar side effect. I think by not coming up front with this, they face liabilities. I agree with that. Okay. And again, for the future, people want transparency, Stuart. You've been talking about that forever on the show here. We want to know. Everything has side effects. All medicines have side effects. You try to hide it, nobody will trust you.
And listen to that last part. Let me go back 10 seconds. This is another point in this video, too. Listen to what he said again.
People want transparency, Stuart. You've been talking about that forever on the show here. We want to know. Everything has side effects. All medicines have side effects. You try to hide it, nobody will trust you.
He said all MED is sin has side effects. Yeah, but when we say these things, then we're looked at as crazy. You know, we looked at as some kind of like weird herbalist people, whatever. You know, like I mentioned, I'm not going to say much in this video. Once again, before I continue, I'm going to say it again. This is not health advice. This is not medical advice. All I'm doing is just sharing articles and sharing videos on what's already being talked about. So you see, you got these side effects, I'll say that, happening because of the vaccine. People already knew about it, but even these companies knew about it, and it was still marketed. It was still pushed out there. Same thing with the J&J. Like this guy said, it was still pushed. People still got it. And you had people doubling down, tripling down. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to speak out against it. It's too late for a lot of people, though. And this is on Fox Business. It's everywhere. If you just type this in on Google, you're going to see 4 hours ago, 6 hours ago. The one from 4 hours was from The Independent. You got CNBC just 2 hours ago. So it's everywhere. It's not just one article. And actually, I found this post on Instagram, and you can read this for yourself. I'm not going to read it. So I was looking for this exact one, but I wasn't finna type in all this entire title. But apparently it was posted yesterday, May 7th. And as you can see, this vaccine, it has some rare side effect, and it's linked to 80 deaths in Britain. And it was admitted, those 80 deaths were admitted in court papers and official court documents. Yeah. So we're not just saying these things because we're some crazy I'll say conspiracy theorists. No. We're letting you know these things because biblically, we're not supposed to be, I'll use the word, injecting any kind of needles or anything inside of us. That's the main reason. But also we know what Esau Edom is trying to do. We're not ignorant to his devices. Like I said, I am being very, very cautious. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But this is 2 Corinthians 2, verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. In the NLT, it says, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes. And there's some evil scheme behind this vaccine. They always talked about it, how they're trying to decrease the population. Put those words together, put those sounds together. They always talked about that. And this is one way that they're doing it. And then, of course, who knows? It could be a test for something bigger. They could be doing it to see how people react to it, especially when it comes to the MOTB. Now they're seeing how people react to the vaccine, and then, boom, okay, they adjust their plans. They move accordingly, change some things up, and then they push out the MOTB later on because of what they learned of how people reacted to this vaccine. Who really knows? But at the end of the day, it is something that we talked about here at GMS, starting with our apostles and elders and bishops on down. And this is why we said it right here. It was one of the main reasons why we said it. So we weren't lying. We weren't fear mongering, as some people said. At the end of the day, we didn't take it here at GMS, and the Lord held us down. Some brothers lost their jobs, but they found jobs. All right, we all good at the end of the day still. Let me jump over here to the book of Ecclesiasticus 12 verse 10, or Sirach 12 verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Never trust your enemy. And who is this coming from? Who do you think was funding whether it's students, colleagues, former students, whoever? Who do you think was funding the people over at Oxford to make that vaccine that was distributed? And all the other ones as well. Where do you really think it's coming from? It's your government, it's the elites, it's Esau Edom, the so-called white man, which in the Bible, he's referred to as the devil because he's a deceiver. And that's exactly what he's doing. But remember, the scriptures say, we just read it, that we're not ignorant of his devices. And he's our top enemy. That's our enemy. Believe it or not, you so-called, and I'll say us, so-called black, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans, we do have enemies. We have people, really a nation of people that don't want our good, that don't want to see our good. And that's Esau Edom. And these elites know who we are, and the Bible is warning us here to never trust them. And as a matter of fact, Man, medicines, I think. Here you go. Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach 38, verse 4. The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. And what do you think those medicines are? Herbs. That's one of them. But even just your food in general. You know, I'm not going to speak too much on that actually. But you can get the gist of what I'm saying. Fruits, vegetables, all of that. Yeah, use it wisely. Look things up. You can make tinctures and stuff like that. Yeah, let's grab one more. Like I said, not speaking too much on it. Speaking kind of slow, just to be very, very conscious of my word choice. My wording, rather. Revelation, I think 2 and 10 is what I want. Nah, I want 3 and 10. Revelation 3 and 10. Read this in the King James, and then we'll close out. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And when these Maximes were pushed, it was a big temptation for a lot of people. Like I mentioned before, we had GMS, starting with our apostles on down. We mentioned not to take it. We didn't take it in the spirit, and the Lord held us down. We have our jobs. We're getting by day. As the Lord's Prayer says, we have our daily bread. But some brothers were tempted. Now, that's not the hour of temptation. However, it is very familiar. It's similar. The hour of temptation that's talked about right here in verse 10, Revelation 3, verse 10, is talking about when the MOTB is made mandatory. That's going to be an even stronger temptation. What we saw concerning the Maxine was it was a temptation, but it was a lower tier. It was really just, how can I word it, like the forerunner. That's all it was. That's all it was. It was just an example, a testing period, something simple. But anyway, you get my point. The real hour of temptation is when the MOTB is made mandatory, and that's going to be a temptation like no other. Because more than likely it's going to happen during a time of famine, during a time of cannibalism. The scriptures talk about Jacob's trouble, when all this will be happening, all out anarchy, people looting and rioting. And then here comes Esau Edom with his solution, the MOTB. And you haven't eaten in a day or two. Maybe you're a woman, you might have children, whoever you're looking after. They haven't eaten in a day or two, maybe 3, 4. And then here comes this man. Well, all you got to do is take this MOTB, and we got a bowl of rice here for you, some beans, chicken, whatever. What are you going to do? Are you going to lean on the Lord and have faith, or are you going to give in to this man? All because of what he's promising you here in the flesh. Of course, you should be saying in your mind, you're going to trust on the Lord. Have faith in him. Remembering all the scriptures that talk about how the Lord's servants will eat. They're going to be drinking. They're going to be merry-hearted, basically in that day. So the real temptation is coming very, very soon, right? And it says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. To try them because it's going to be a testing period. The Lord is going to see who you believe in. Do you really have faith in me? Or were you just playing and joking around all this time, all these years? Were you not taking the things that I said serious? Can't just claim that you have faith. You got to show it at this point. So that's it. I wanted to bring out this concerning the Maxine, and then, of course, tie it all into biblical prophecy moving forward, because that's why we make these videos. that's really all that matters, right? So continue to lean on the Lord, put your trust and your faith in him, no matter what. Call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Machakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.